this was nothing. They'd planted this and given up on it. There were little nubs on the ground. The grass was taller than me. I thought they were full of shit saying there was Syrah up here. It took us 4 years of work up here. We just put this on wire 2 years ago. Prune them up good, tie them up. We actually fertilize these right now in the spring. And if you know, they look nice, but you'll see the vines are actually pretty small in here. I see my neighbors doing something. They aren't very big vines. They've gotten a lot bigger the last year or two now. But this is Syrah. Again, there was no wire up here at all. We just put one up here to get them on, get them up off the ground, and extremely surprised at how much fruit's up here right now. Probably pick this within a week or 10 days. So again, we picked this at about 22 bricks. It makes a very vibrant, peppery, spicy wine. I'll show you some of it down below, but it's so dry up here right now, you can really see what happens in a non-irrigated vineyard. All the leaves are falling off. The leaves are all falling off down in this area, which makes it easy to pick. But the tips stop growing, you run out of water, they concentrate on trying to get the fruit ripe. It makes real intense stuff, and you can see here the leaves really beat it up here. It's very windy up here. It's not right now. It will be later in the day. You can see how shiny the grapes are here and all that. That's from the leaves rubbing all the wax off. And that's what creates that peppery flavor a lot. Shade and wind will really bring out black pepper. So this block is very, very peppery. And I love it for that. And it's more so if you pick it young. See, look right here. See how shiny that is? Versus down here, that's from this leaf and the others that were here whacking it all the time, rubbed it off. So the plant's response is the chemical that gives a black pepper taste. And so this vineyard has that taste usually quite strongly.
So now where will these wines, these grapes end up in?
This will be an estate Syrah because it's so different than anything else we got. It's done in a kind of a northern France style. You know, we're talking 12.5% alcohol. It's a much leaner style. You know, it's a great food pairing wine, but it's not that big, rich, ripe Syrah that everyone thinks. It's more like the Gigondas region, you know, in France. I swear maybe there's Mourvedre or something in it with some of the spice you get off this. And you'll notice the funny thing though, the grass is still green here. It's not totally dry up here, and you sure think it would be. But there's enough moisture here to grow the grapes. You know, old-fashioned, old-world style. You know, in 20 years, to give these a chance to really develop and get in the ground. This is just a phenomenal vineyard site. It's a tough site. It's a windy site. It's going to make extremely flavorful grapes. Right now, we're fertilizing other things to baby them to get them to grow. But you know, this is like some of those old vineyards you see in France and Germany. They're 100 years old, and they got to hand pick them up the side of a hill, and there's 10 bunches per plant. I mean, here, look at this plant. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, you can count them.
So when people drive by on I-5, this is the part of your vineyard that they see.
Yeah, you can see I-5 quite a bit there. And this is 42 coming across here. And this also shows how hardy grapes are. Grapes can grow in a lot of places. And it's actually the hard spots to grow where you get the better grapes. You know, smaller berries, much more intense flavors. You can't sell that wine for 10, 15 bucks a bottle though, because it's so expensive to grow the fruit. And we have that problem in the US. You got those places I was talking about in France and Germany. Well, you get 50, 60, 80, $150 a bottle, and you can grow it anywhere. We just don't have the appreciation for those type of wines. And terroir. Terroir goes away with irrigation a lot. Dry farmed, own place, you really get terroir effect. It really shows the season, the soil, everything, how it's treated. You know, irrigation just doesn't do that. Oregon's interesting in that they always kept their own list of varietals until just a couple of years ago. And I love Petite Syrah, and I'd convinced someone to plant it. Didn't even realize I couldn't call it Petite Syrah. And also you couldn't blend in Oregon. Oregon was a 90% state. Everything had to be 90%. So what was it, 2 or 3 years ago, there was a petition movement by the Oregon wine industry to drop to 75%, which it is in the 49 other states, and the federal level for Bordeaux varieties and some other things, and open up the Oregon list to match the TTB list, which both of which did happen. So now you can call it Petite Syrah. As far as I know, I did the first Petite Syrah after that. Of course, we got the Southern Oregon AVA just in '04 as well, and we might have bottled the first wine of that too. I mean, I bottled a week later the first stuff we did, and the claret label. There's been a lot of changes in Oregon, but Durif has grown quite a bit in Australia right now, and on the federal list you can do Durif and you can do Petite Syrah. They're not considered synonymous yet, although they're the same thing. If they do that and make them synonymous, as we're getting a lot of Syrah in the United States, particularly the West Coast from Australia, the same thing will happen with Durif. There's quite a bit of it over there. So I'm not sure I really want them to do that. I love Petite Syrah, but Petite Syrah is an interesting grape. It has to be hot, and it has to be dry. It does not like rain whatsoever. It does not even like humidity. Real tight bunches. So any rain at all, it wants to mold, it wants to split. And for a grape that's so dark and so tannic, the skins are thin. You put it in a fermenter. It's funny when you look at it. Cab Sauv and Syrah, you can almost walk across them because we do whole berry and everything. Malbec, Cab Franc, Petite Syrah macerate up like that. And I think that's probably why with Malbec and Petite Syrah you have such incredible color. It's not that it's big, thicker skins that have more phenolics. They just give them up so quickly. You just put that in a solution and let it sit there and it'll get dark. You don't have to try and get color. The problem with the Petite Syrah is tannin. It's notorious for extremely big, hard tannins. So we do cold fermentation on it. Cold relative to reds. I keep it under 80 degrees and keep the fruit there. You don't have to try and get color. It's there. You let it run up in the mid-90s, and it's so tannic, and you burn that fruit off, and it's like eating a board. You've probably had some out of California that they're tannin with maybe a little fruit there, and if you wait for the tannin to go away, there's nothing left because they tend to be high pH wines too. We picked the 06 at 21.5. The 07 is still, we're not even up to 14% alcohol in any wine. I don't like the high alcohols. And if you pick a little earlier, you get more acid, you get more balance, you get a lot more fruit and a lot more aromatics. So that's our goal. We do that every year. Even this vineyard, almost never do we pick it over 23. It's how wine was made forever until the mid-90s till now. The Wine Spectator in California, super ripe wines, high alcohols, take them home and drink them. If you wait 3 years, they suck. As opposed to, the imbalanced wines that are okay now, but will really be better in 3 years, if not 10. That's the style of wine we look to make, and wine I like to drink. In fact, Lori and I had our 04 Cab Franc that got a platinum from you guys, 3 years ago. I bottled it the other day, and oh my God, is it good? It's like, if I could sell it now, holy crap. But wines are so much better done that way. In my opinion, I don't like the super ripe, tastes like plums and prunes and alcohol, and they go like this. You got a 6-month window to drink them, as opposed to what I think really good wines are. You got to lay them down for a couple of years, and they're drinkable for at least 5 years, and then they slowly decline. Even some of the Merlots and Syrahs out of Washington are getting that way. When you get out toward Walla Walla, it's so hot that they have the same issue. You're going to be picking when your alcohol's going to be 14.5 up to 16, and throw a lot of oak at them, and they're ripe and plummy and fruity and all this. And not everyone's doing this, but they're good for short-term consumption. But you don't want to drink that wine 5 years from now. It's fat and flabby and just tastes hot from the alcohol. It's just a difference of philosophy. The marketplace is calling for that wine, and they can get a higher price at the moment. And God bless them, but that's not why I'm here to do this. It's not the style I like, so I don't make that style.
Right.
That's one thing. If you're the owner and winemaker, pretty much do any damn thing you want. And then find the crowd for it.